The Bunker Project is brought to you by Wix.com, the easiest place to create a website online.
For free.
This is Bunker Project episode number 123.
0.01.
All right.
Are we recording?
That sounded way better.
Yeah, it was much better. Yeah, it was just good to practice. You know what's weird? Everybody does this little dance when the music's going, the arm's going. And I take some pictures of it, but I forgot we do it live. I was watching the Bunker show. It's like, oh, that looks pretty cool. So excellent. So
what are we talking about today? We're talking podcasting. Yay!
Oh, yeah. So do you want to do what's happening in the world of podcasts, the devastating lawyerly BS that's going on?
Yeah, let's talk about
Or
that.
do you want to talk about, what type of mics you need?
Let's talk about...
Yes.
Yeah. If you're hosting, who do you use for hosting? And killer questions like...
Yeah. Let's talk about that.
Yeah, let's talk about all that kind of stuff. But first, let's talk about the podcasting patent, get that out of the way, because I think that's a big deal.
Yeah.
I'm going to steal a little bit of Twit's content and play what Leo Laporte, his initial public reaction to the podcast patent is.
Awesome.
And we've got Scott Patton here. So,
Yay.
I mentioned or 2 episodes ago, I mentioned that we've been trying to get Scott on the show since episode number 1. And I've got this Facebook message thread that's like, I'm going to come. Oh, no, I'm in Vernon that
5 years. 5 years.
And then I'm in...
When when he said he was abducted by aliens,
I'm in
I was just a
Mexico.
little worried.
I'm in Mexico, and then it was this ongoing thing, and then he was coming last time, and he was on his way here, and he gets hit by a car.
Yeah, I was on
that's
my
the guy who's
way
here?
here.
I
was
know.
Coming here.
Really?
Well,
Yeah.
we did take the piss out of him last show.
Yeah,
Remember, that was
we did.
hilarious. It was a good 10, 15-minute segment.
and so technically this is the 3rd time he's been here, but the first time he's actually been here because we talked about him way back, I think in episode 60.
Wow.
And we actually played a video, MC DJ Patton or whatever.
Yeah.
We played that video. It was audio, so no one could see the video, but we talked about the video, and you were dancing up on the mountains and stuff like that.
Yeah, we really took the piss out of him there, too.
Yeah, that was a 1,700-kilometer trip where every 5 minutes we stopped and took a 2 to 10-second video
Wow.
to music and then stuck it all together, all that made it.
Yeah, and you were like, you had your baseball cap on backwards, and you had your,
Yeah.
everything going on.
Was that part of your vacation or just like you're a workaholic?
No, I'm a vacationaholic.
Yeah, because vacation's like work or work's like vacation, something like that.
I remember I was watching one of your videos where you were, I think, on the beach in Puerto Vallarta or something.
Hawaii.
Hawaii.
And you were saying, just like the way, you see the waves in the background, just like the waves come in and crash on the shore, that's how your podcast should be, or something like that. It was kind of funny. It was actually good. Yeah, something like that. I can't get it right.
Was it profound?
It actually ended up, I'm like, what is he talking about? But then you tied it all together, and it was pretty cool.
It all came
So
together.
it wasn't just a sangria moment or something.
It sounded a lot better when you were drinking sangria, that's for sure.
So Scott is the guy that introduced me to podcasting. How many years ago was that? That was like
5?
5 years ago.
Could be 5, could be 6.
So I was sitting at my computer, and I got an email, and I opened the email, and then this white screen popped up, and Scott walked across the screen and started talking about podcasting and what it can do for your business and blah, blah, blah. Podcast Bootcamp, weekend-long thing. Come on over. And so I actually went, and it was pretty cool. And it wasn't just about podcasting. There was internet marketing stuff. There was all sorts of speakers. It was pretty neat.
Well, I think the thing that people don't realize when you talk about podcasting is you're also talking about all the things that we would normally do to whether we're blogging or we're using YouTube or anything we do to promote. It's just another way of getting your message out there.
Yeah. So you need to know all of that in order to
Well, it all works
effectively
together.
Yeah.
If you do,
Synergy.
If you do a
Synergy.
podcast and you don't do a blog telling people about your podcast, you're doing yourself a disservice.
Exactly.
Hey,
And
that's a
you've
great
got about 30 podcasts, you said? 30 podcasts?
30. They're not all like active, but I've done over 30 or 40 podcast shows. So different topics, different co-hosts.
Yeah.
that sort of thing.
Cool. And one of them was 375,000 subscribers.
Weight Loss in the Mind was one of the first ones that I ever did, and we did it. I did it, and one of my goals was to see what would happen if all you did was talk for 20 minutes once a week on a topic that people were interested in. So we didn't do anything to promote it, and it grew to 375,000 subscribers, over 750,000 downloads in one of the years we
but
tracked it.
it sounded like, 'cause I listened to quite a few of the episodes quite a while ago, and they were like, it sounded like you took 2 bottles of Red Bull before you started the show. You guys were amped up.
Yeah, well, the guy I was doing it with was very, very hyper, and he just
Motivational speaker, right?
Yeah, and he just hyped me right up too, and we had a lot of fun, which was the key to it.
Cool. Well, let's jump into the roundtable introductions. Let's do them quick because we've got a lot of content to get through.
Okay, so we're going to do a 10-second round?
Yeah. Okay. So quickly say your name, your Twitter handle, or any other social media handle that you want to promote. If you have a podcast, planning to start a podcast or a web show, like a YouTube show or Hangouts on Air, or if you participate in one, like some people do the beer show, some people do Crazy TV Talk, and other
And
shows.
beer.
Yeah. So let's start with Sanj over on the far corner.
Sanj Sukrikar, Genesis Designs, web design maven. At Genesis Designs is my Twitter handle, and I'll keep it short this time.
Hi, it's Paul, at Nosy Paul, N-O-Z-I-P-A-U-L.
Oh, Z-I.
Z-I.
Yeah, I couldn't find you.
N-O-Z-I.
Oh, yeah, I tried ZI. It didn't work.
N-O-Z-I.
It's only for Canadians.
So no
Or-
website,
or
no
bits.
podcast yet, but working on it.
Cool. Oh, look, we have a guest here. Oh, it's the Gaming Maven. Awesome. Big Randall, you're up next.
Hi, it's Randall Orser at Number Crunchers on Twitter. And podcast, yeah, I'm looking at seeing what I can do with that for this year.
Oh, really?
For sure.
Good man.
Yeah.
Excellent. Big Bonnie.
At B Sainsbury on Twitter and with BC_Insurance Gal. I am the co-host of Women Talking Tech,
Awesome.
Cool.
which is a webcast and YouTube.
Cool.
BC_Insurance Gal. So the other co-host for Women Talking Tech, and also have another YouTube show with a mortgage broker called To Finance and Protect.
Cool.
To finance it. Did you go dun 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 dun? I
Yeah,
think
would
that's
it cost too much
copyrighted.
money?
Yeah.
Licensing fees are a bitch.
Yeah.
I'm Scott Patton, and my Twitter handle is Podcasters. Don't private message me there, please, but you can get a hold of me at www.designermediasolutions.com.
Cool.
Excellent.
Hi, I'm. Thanks, Steve. Good joke. I'm Paul the Rock God. I'm at Paul the Rock God on Twitter, and rockgod.ca is my website if you're looking for karaoke in Vancouver. And no podcast, but I should do a karaoke one maybe.
Absolutely, you should.
absolutely.
But if you guys tell me how to do it tonight, I'll do it.
All right, cool. Excellent.
Hey there, guys. Adam here, and I've taken Bonnie's advice, and I've started tweeting at GamerHook. We good to go?
Oh, yeah. You can keep going, man. Yeah.
Okay. Website is gaming website, gamerhook.com.
Excellent.
Nice.
And we got James in the hood. Dudovitchkis, what's up?
What's going on?
Yeah.
This is James Karg at Twisted_Magic. This time, if you have a podcast. I participate in a ton of web shows. The Craft Beer Report or Craft Beer Network. Join us on Google Plus. We have over 3,500 members so far in only a month, and we do
Good
a
for you.
weekly beer hangout called the Craft Beer Hangout. You can find it on YouTube and watch us get drunk for an hour. It's kind of interesting. Fridays at 7. You can join too and talk to us live about beer. And Andrew McGovern and Bob Garlick and Marcel Lapointe have been on the show before.
Yes, I did get drunk.
Yes, and I think I'm going to start a show called
What else is
Talking
new?
About Games with James. Wait, I already do that here. Maybe I'll call it The Next Life. Yeah.
Cool.
It can still be called Gaming with James.
Oh, you're going to get a life, maybe?
That's a gaming reference, I think.
All right, I'm Andrew McGivern at Podcast Hero on Twitter, and I do The Bunker Show. Used to do Health Empowerment News with Croft Woodruff. That one might be revived, might not. Got a couple other podcasts that I want to do too, and those will be coming, at least one of them will be coming soon.
Cool. I think that was a great. You should start up the Health Empowerment News. It was awesome, dude.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun.
You should do one that specializes, actually plays right after the craft beer show called
HangoverRemedies.com.
Exactly.
You'll
If
need
I
that.
hung long enough, somebody jump in. with
Actually, you know,
Hangover
the
Remedies.
craft beer hangout is a lot of fun. You should definitely check it out. You do have to do a little bit of work before and pick out a beer. And it has to be craft beer. It has to, and you have to do a little bit of research so you can talk about the beer.
Yep.
And
you want to get one that's got a weird name.
Everybody just has a lot of fun and talks and learns a lot about beer. It's pretty cool.
James want to know what type of beer we're drinking right now? Yeah. Well, black beer, of course.
Brewmaster Black.
Brewmeister Black is double.
It's a black lager.
Yeah, it's double burnt hops or something like that to give it a little bit of tang, but make it so dark. And it's one notch below in darkness than Guinness, but it's like a lager that's dark. So
yeah,
very,
it's
very nice.
it's deceptively smooth.
Yeah.
Yeah, because most black beers, if you're not used to drinking black lagers, actually don't have that stout taste. Doesn't have that aftertaste. It's got kind of a strong initial flavor, but it doesn't.
It's not heavy.
It
it's
looks
not
like
heavy.
almost everybody here is drinking it.
I know.
Just
you
about,
get 4 or
yeah.
5
We've
pints.
converted.
It's yummy.
We've converted most of the people here.
Yeah, they put an addictive substance in it too.
Yeah.
So that's what's really helping.
And we
sales.
want to get them as a sponsor. So.
Army East.
And anybody listening, we are looking for a new sponsor because Wix's sponsorship is running out. And so if you want to sponsor the Bunker Show.
Can we start trashing them now?
No.
Not yet.
Not
No.
yet.
Not
Wait
yet.
till- Another 15, 20 minutes. Ken, what's your all about?
Hello, Ken McGrath. I'm at Ken AMCG, and I do have a podcast coming up. It's called iCamcast, and it's a derivative of my website, which is camdigital.com. And I also do the Crazy TV Talk, and I do this Bunker TV thing, and it's I just love podcasting. It's so wonderful.
Well, you're a big audio dude. You've been busy doing audio for CTV recently, haven't you?
Yeah. Well, I worked for them full time for a bit, but now, I'm just filling in for some of the sick guys.
You call it stringing. I string.
Yeah. So, but I've been doing broadcast for about 36 years now. So
Wow, you started when you were 6.
pretty close.
Yeah. mhm.
No, it's been a while.
Cool. Okay, and this is Bob Garlick, Garlick. The reason I spell that is you just got to Google it to get pages and pages and goddamn pages
Did
of
you
content.
change your name for that, Bob?
I'm thinking of selling it. So if anybody wants pages and pages and pages, I am willing to sell the garlic. Absolutely, man, for a hefty fee. In Canadian dollars only. Sorry, I won't take US
Awesome.
dollars. They're just not stable enough.
Well, instead of actually Bob being able to sell it, what I did a couple of years ago is I actually applied for a patent for Bob Garlick.
I know what he
And
got
now I'm
it.
going to sue him for damages. And
For degradation of the brand.
I waited until he built it up. I didn't actually say anything that, hey, I patented that. I just waited until he had the first 12 pages of Google. And now I'm going to
You want it all.
strike when the iron's hot, and I'm going to start suing.
Good
Now,
for you.
was that a painful segue or what?
It was a very painful segue into the podcasting patent.
Okay, this is a major rabbit hole for anybody that's into technology for sure. But now it's kind of hit home with podcasting because some asshole has come forth and said, oh, by the way, I own the patent for podcasting and I'm suing everybody. So anybody that has a podcast is up for getting a nice letter for some lawyers. So the problem is if somebody caves, then we're all open. It's open season, basically. I don't know how eligible we are up here in Canada, but in North America, you're basically screwed. So, Andrew, let's get some background on this and find out what other podcasters are doing to protect themselves from this fiasco.
Well, this happened a couple of years ago too. I got this Google alert because I have podcasting set up as a Google alert, and it came up saying company podcast patenting, and it was Volo Media. So they were granted a patent for episodic media distributed over the internet. It was kind of vague. The diagram in their patent describes kind of the old way of doing of podcasting, which is I say old way, but it's like only like a couple of years ago. But anyways, of downloading to a computer, and then a device syncs with the computer. That's what their diagram said. But nowadays, most people download direct to the phone. So I'm not even sure if that patent is valid anymore. But now, a company called Personal Audio LLC has been granted a patent last year. And Volo Media, when they got their patent, they said they're going to do it for the betterment of podcasting. They want to standardize it and make it more available and educate people and stuff like that. They didn't do much since then. And in between them getting a patent and Personal Audio LLC getting a patent, Apple actually got a patent for podcasting. Yeah. And I think it was in something to do with, specifically their iTunes technology and their store and whatnot. So... But Personal Audio LLC is the first one that has actually used their patent to actually go after podcasters. And they've targeted three podcasts or podcast networks. Adam Carolla's ACE Broadcasting Network.
By the way, which is an awesome show. You should check it out.
Yeah, because he's probably getting more listeners because of this.
Yeah.
Because I started listening because of that. Because Leo Laporte actually went on his show and talked about this very issue. And
well, don't look at me, man. I'm just a co-host.
Right.
Now, I didn't bring my glasses, so I can't really participate too much in the
show.
So they went after a couple guys.
Issue? Do they actually own the name podcasting?
No, they don't own the name. They own they're claiming to own the technology, basically, of the RSS feed.
Yeah, which is completely
with a media file attached to it.
Which is absurd.
I know, but it's the patent system, which is absurd.
It's completely
and they
broken.
Win.
Yeah,
that's
so
the scary part.
So they're going after Adam Carolla. They're going after How Stuff Works, which is
another
the
awesome
podcasting arm of the Discovery Channel.
Yep.
And then they're going after another I can't remember his name, but he's a big name podcaster.
You know How Stuff Works is way cooler than the Discovery. Have you ever listened to their show? These two dudes, and they're just rapping about stuff, and they're analyzing the magazine, and it's brilliant. It's much more entertaining than the TV. So that's just my 2 bit.
Yeah, so they actually sued a year or two ago. They sued Apple for a separate patent to do with hardware and playlists. So it was a hardware patent and it was playlists. So they acquired this patent, sued them, and won $8 million plus $4 million in interest.
Oh, so they went and reinvested that money in other suits.
In acquiring other patents. I don't know the specific details. They claim that they actually invented the technology for podcasting in 1996. That's their claim.
Well, the thing is, though, that you look, and I've read a little bit about this company, and they're just not a bunch of asshole lawyers that have a company that they've made up, and they've just owned a bunch of patents. This guy is brilliant. He had some amazing technology in his background. He's not just some asshole. So really,
he's a brilliant asshole.
Maybe
basically
he did invent it.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. That's why it's so scary, because you could, if you take it to court, you say, well, he's done this and this and this and this and this, and you add those up, it really makes a strong case for, you know what, maybe this guy does have the right to take money from anybody that does a podcast.
But,
now, whether
Dean
he goes
Kamen.
crazy and says, you know what, I'm basically going to take tons and tons of money and destroy podcasting, or just go after the big boys and make enough money to retire, who knows? Or maybe he comes out and says, you know what, I just want to standardize the industry because I'm sick of the BS that's going on, and this will become the de facto standard. And if you do it to these specifications, I'll let you have it for $5 a year. And there's 1 million people that subscribe. He's still going to make a lot of money.
Here's what I think they're going to do. I think that if they're successful and actually successfully sue these people and then go down the line and go after people who are successful with podcasting, they'll probably do a personal license, which is maybe free, and then a business license. So if you are making money from your podcast, you have to pay them. If you're not, it's just a hobby. Go ahead and take the free license.
Like
that's what I think they'll do.
Well, what's that plugin in WordPress?
PodPress.
PodPress.
No, PodPress is the older one.
No, it's the one for spam.
PowerPress.
No, it's for
spam.
spam.
Ask-A-Met.
If you go there, they want $75 if you're professional. But but they've got a choice. You're not professional. You don't really make your money doing this. You can choose the free one. It's your choice. So they've kind of done the same thing. And I'm sure there's lots of companies that are doing lots and lots of money through their WordPress websites that say, okay, it's worth paying the $75 for the license to do this because it gets rid of 80-90% of the spam, and it's a good service, and they deserve to be supported so they can improve it.
So 17 years later, did I do my math right?
Close enough.
Okay. He says, oh, by the way, I invented that 17 years ago.
Yep.
Does that note sort of open a can of worms?
It's 7
years. But the thing is, he was just granted, the company was just granted the patent last year.
Yeah.
So how
they've
can
been applying for 7 years.
They've been applying for 7 years?
But that's fast. We still got
Well,
years
they finally
left
paid
over.
off someone enough that they granted
See,
it.
but here's the thing that I don't get. I'm not a lawyer or a legal
The views of the Bunker
advisor or
Project
anything
are
like
just
that.
those of each person in the Bunker Project.
That's right. But
Don't sue us.
To me, I think that to sit back and watch people do stuff with your technology that you are claiming to own, and you don't say, hey, I own that. I'm applying for a patent on that, just so you can go ahead and use it, but I'm going to be looking for license fees down the road, and just wait for people to become successful with it and then sue them. Yeah, I think you should lose your patent if you're not enforcing it.
Yeah.
Like if you don't enforce your trademark, if you don't keep your trademark alive, you lose it. You have
There is a
Yeah,
requirement.
but you see, the internet is very inventive. If he does win, then someone's going to come up with a something that just is just enough to get around the patent, and then that's the way everybody will do it because somebody will put it in the GNU license.
But that's the thing. Okay, so this patent though is the wording is vague. It's they're claiming that they own episodic media distributed online.
Is that TV shows too?
It would be.
That's anything. That's YouTube.
Oh, so I do understand it. I'm not just a dumb
No,
blonde.
YouTube wouldn't be. It's not distributed. It's not like pushed to the user. So YouTube, you have to actually go there.
Okay. So it's basically the
Yeah, but
RSS function.
You need
a subscription
a mic.
is you're saying like I need that.
Well, if it's the RSS function, then if you don't allow RSS feeds for your podcast, then
somebody will just come up with some other.
Yeah, but
code.
then it's not a podcast. If if it's not tied to an RSS feed, it's a web show or in audio on the internet. It's not. There's no subscription. There's no automatic push.
Okay, so
which is the power of podcasting.
But there really is. We've got to go back to Amazon and the one-click patent that they got. There are some ridiculous patents being given out that are way too. What's the word I'm looking for? They apply way too broadly to ideas that would have come of age anyway. And there is legally a requirement to mitigate your losses if you're in a situation where you believe that somebody is infringing on your rights and your ownerships. You are legally obliged to do everything you can to stop it. And to act as quickly as possible.
Is there somewhere we can donate money to a legal team to fight?
Yeah,
this?
we're going to get to that.
there
We're going
you
to get
go.
to that next.
Great segue.
Great.
Great. Thank
Pay
you,
the
Ken.
lawyers.
I'm going to. That's the unfortunate part. I'm going to play a little bit of Leo Laporte's show Twit, and hopefully he doesn't come after us for using his content, but I don't think he would. Hang on a sec.
I didn't mention actually the story that worries me the most, and I almost am tempted not to mention this. I'm nervous to mention this. There is a patent troll out there. At least I think I don't know. Maybe they're not a patent troll who claims that they have patented podcasting. They apparently, I remember this, they sued Apple a little while ago. It's called Personal Audio LLC, and they claim they invented podcasting in 1996. They have a patent which was granted to them last year. And a system for disseminating media content representing episodes in serialized sequence. They sued and beat Apple, got a judgment of $8 million. They've entered licensing agreements now with Sirius, Arcos, Kobe, RIM, Samsung, Amazon, and Motorola. they're now suing two of the biggest podcasters out there, Adam Carolla and How Stuff Works. Now, we asked for a comment from either of them, and both of them, probably at the advice of their lawyers, said we aren't going to talk about this. We're not going to say a word. And I'm a little nervous about that. I would like to see, because I know we'll get a lawsuit next, right? Or Channel Flip.
Somebody will be off.
Somebody. Right? And what I would like to see the internet, the podcast community do is band together and loudly fight this. But so it does make me a little bit nervous. They sue in East Texas because that supposedly is a place that's quite favorable to these patent lawsuits. Personal Audio says they invented this stuff back in 1996 or 95. All I can say is it makes, as a somebody who does create content for the internet, this would be a devastating blow if we had to license this stuff. If we got sued by these guys, I don't know if we could even afford to defend ourselves. And we certainly couldn't pay the kind of money that Apple ended up paying. It would put us out of business. And it could put, frankly, podcasting out of business. So I just wanted to raise your awareness about this. Certainly, I think what would happen if we did get sued is we'd come to our audience and ask for your help. We've asked, and I would love to help Adam and How Things Work, but I think they both decided, probably their lawyers have decided it'd be best to just stay quiet. And I hope not settle, but perhaps even settle.
But see, that's the temptation. They're not going to ask $8 million from Adam Carolla. They're going to say, well, it's going to cost you all $300,000 to fight this.
They ask the largest amount they can get away with.
Yeah, that's going to cost you less than the legal action. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's why I think we need to all band together. We need to make it. Together we have a chance. Singly, we don't.
It's I don't know. It's crap like this that makes me want to go out and punch people.
I think he's a priest too.
Will you be an expert witness on our behalf?
I don't know. I've been angry of late, especially this past week, just because I hate crowds. But man, it makes my blood boil.
Well, I know we can count on our audience. It makes my blood boil too, and also it is exactly what's been wrong. We've talked about this patent nonsense for a long time.
Okay.
So very interesting.
So shortly after that, Adam Carolla answered his call, and he actually came on Adam Carolla's show, and they talked about it. And Adam Carolla suggested exactly what Leo was going to present to him, and he said we should start like a legal defense fund and do it as a Kickstarter. And go out, talk to all our listeners, get all the podcasters to promote this Kickstarter thing, create a legal defense fund, and
crush them
and stop these guys before they actually get any momentum, because they've already got momentum with Apple on a separate patent. They've got money, so that's their war chest that they can use to fund this particular legal battle. But to me, it's not. A company like this is not a friend of the internet, and fans and
lawyers are no friends of the internet, so far as I'm concerned.
No, but it's in. Yeah, there are some that are, but it's.
Well, let them fight it then.
They're not going to fight it on their own.
Well, if there are lawyers out there who are worth, really worth it, they should be fighting this, and they should be.
Yeah, but that's not the point.
The law's got out of control.
Well, that is the point. The law has got out of control.
Well, it's not that it's out of control, guys. It's just it's being abused by people. And
the system's broke. You shouldn't be able to.
It's not necessarily lawyers. It's just whoever decides to run these stupid patents. Like it's not some lawyer sitting there always. The patent system is broken. It is the patent system. Yeah. And luckily for us in Canada, some of the patents that are down in the States don't have international jurisdiction. Yeah. I mean, you have to apply for an international patent.
Yeah, and that's a lot of money.
We should apply for a Canadian one.
Yeah.
Oh,
exactly.
exactly.
But for the sake of international trade, usually.
But you do have to have 10 years
patents
for your patent to actually not go into regression. Like if you don't try to initiate some sort of legal defense of it, otherwise it just becomes open and anybody else can try to run up and take it. Mm-hmm. But I mean, if we're using like 19, yeah, I mean, but like with something like that. It's 1996, right? So why can't we just have a different standard format like our own podcast.
Yeah, exactly.
network.
So
Just rewrite the code.
Hey, maybe BlackBerry can lend everybody BBM, and we can just podcast via BBM.
Well, I think what's going to happen is Google's going to do it through Android, and they'll just say, "Okay, by the way, this is the new system. Guess what? Ta-da!" And that's why we basically been backing off with FeedBurner because it's irrelevant anymore. It's super easy. Click, 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 and you're done, and you can broadcast anywhere.
But I'm not backing off from
you guys
FeedBurner,
were
just
saying that YouTube doesn't qualify, but I mean, now if you look at their dashboard, it has subscriptions all the time. So it is getting pushed to me in my feed, just like an RSS is on their website.
Oh, yeah. I mean,
so how come they're not the same?
They might be vulnerable too if this happens. If it's actually being pushed in the same kind of mechanism as a podcast,
but if they're going to try and go up against Google, they're going to have a problem.
Well, here's the thing: they've selected these people very carefully. They didn't go after Leo Laporte because they knew what his reaction would be. He would fight it. They went after Adam Carolla. They went after a company that is a large corporate entity like the Discovery Channel. When they get sued, they look at it and they take the advice of their lawyers and they'll settle. They want to get a little bit of precedence. They want people to settle first, and then once they've got that behind them, then they've got some additional ammunition that validates the patent.
Yeah, well, they're building a.
They're setting precedent.
They're building
setting
a portfolio of precedents.
They're doing this very, very calculated.
It's like the guy that sued the oatmeal.
Oh, I'm so pissed off! I can't.
So, anyways, that's what I want to say. I just want to say that all the podcasters out there should really listen to this and watch for the what's that the cat sign, for the Save the Net. They have they have the cat symbol or whatever, like the bat sign.
The bat sign, yeah.
But it's a cat, isn't it?
Isn't it? Wasn't those guys that had that download torrent thing that had a cat?
Yes. Can't remember what it's called though.
Anyways, it's like the cat symbol. Like the internet's in danger. Here's the cat symbol. Like the Save Our Net people do that. And watch for something from Leo Laporte, Adam Carolla. They're going to start something that everybody can get involved with.
And remember, not all lawyers are bad.
Fight this stuff.
Yeah, absolutely.
No, of course not.
Well, we had an awesome one.
You can't do it without a lawyer.
But they're not all evil, as opposed to some people on our show. They're saying.
Well, no. What I'm saying is it's got out of hand. I mean, the trouble is, in order for a lawyer to compete these days, they've got to take themselves down to that sort of level.
Hey, where's that guy that was on our patent show? We should get him on here.
Yeah,
I would love to have him.
Andre.
He's
Andre
loving
Minkoff,
this. Are you kidding? This is like more gravy for me.
Well, I don't know if it's gravy for him, but it's an interesting thing for him to
sure,
watch.
because it's good. It's basically everybody in the industry is saying, "Wow, if this could happen to podcasting, it could happen to our game. Maybe we should lawyer up."
Our game?
Well, anybody, if they got a game, if they got a system, or
games are so much weirder than that. Bob.
Are they? Are they weirder than that?
Because you can't patent game mechanics.
Really?
Yeah.
Why not?
Because they're kind of ubiquitous.
What happens if somebody does that?
It's just a clone, and people, you can't really do anything about it. Yeah,
it's undefendable.
Pretty much, unless
and
it's
all they have to do is change the code just a little bit. And
you can. That's the thing. Like code, you can totally take them to court for. But if it's like art assets or anything else like that, then it's fine. I mean,
that's patent jumping. That's patent jumping.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, that
should be your new website.
They do patent
patent jumping.
They do. They are able to sort of get around the patents of things that they can't patent because vitamin B6 was unpatentable, but they modify the molecule, and then they patent that molecule, and then they petition the FDA, Health Canada, and other regulatory bodies around the world, and say that those stores are selling a drug without a license. But it wasn't a drug until they modified it and made it a drug. And they actually go out and take these products off the shelf saying that they're now drugs.
Yeah.
Which
is crazy.
The whole law was that you can't patent a natural product, but they're kind of patenting it by going around.
Well, that's why there's two types of vitamin D. There's vitamin D and there's vitamin D3 and vitamin D2. And that's the D2 is the fake one. Well, not a fake one. It's one that's just.
Well, it's not
chemistry.
the sunshine vitamin.
Yeah, on the other one, it's weird.
That's why
there's two.
That's why these new top-level domains are so dangerous, because they're selling off generic terms.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody's going to end up owning words like hotel, music.
They already do.
No, they don't. Not yet. No.
Well, hotels.com.
Hotel, but the .com is a distinguisher. That distinguishes it. Whereas the
it'll
new
be
domains,
.hotel.
It won't be because they're going to be dotless. I mean,
you're talking .hotel.
Yeah. Well, no, but it's going to be dotless because this was discussed at the last ICANN meeting about how they're going to be dotless domains. So in effect, what they're selling off
There'll
is
never be a dotless domain.
Yeah, there will. I mean, if you go to the ICANN site and you look up dotless domains, there was a report.
What has ICANN done for us lately? Nothing.
Well, these are the guys giving away these new 100,000 top level.
Yeah, they're selling them, but they're not actually doing anything positive.
185,000.
Like .XXX is going to be one of the most powerful domains in the next 3 years.
Oh yeah, well it already is. It's already the guy running it is a billionaire already.
And I love .co, so Columbia is pretty sweet.
Yeah, I own a number of .co.
.co stands for company, but
yeah, .co is that's going well.
.pro is a biggie.
Those are going to be blown away by dotless domains.
.bob.
Okay,
Awesome.
well
awesome
that's cool.
So isn't it Coke though that doesn't actually have a patent on their product, and that's why they have had their formula for so many years?
Well, you can't really patent.
They don't have
can't
to
really
disclose.
patent a recipe.
Okay,
it's a secret formula.
They didn't patent it because they didn't want anyone to know what was in it.
Exactly. There you go.
Digression. Everybody drink.
Thank you.
It's not a digression, but
All
it's
right,
true though.
so,
They didn't have to patent it, so they kept their stuff secret.
They kept it secret.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, we can't keep RSS feeds secret.
KFC doesn't have a patent then.
No, they were a franchise, so they had to disclose
7 herbs and spices,
11.
which is really only salt and pepper when they actually did an analysis in the lab.
I know.
12 herbs. And
12 herbs and spices.
Yeah.
Is that another digression?
That is a digression. But
So
you have no beer.
I don't know, Bob. Have you said all you want to say on the patent for now?
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. So let's move on to
That was easy.
podcasting. Different ways of podcasting, because we've got a gorilla podcaster here. You're still a gorilla podcaster, or?
Oh man, I love
not
this
very
guy. I don't
hairy
even
for a
have to do
gorilla.
stuff. It's awesome.
So gorilla
He's kinda
podcasting versus studio podcasting.
You got lots of hair if you look in the right places.
Yeah.
What's that?
Gorilla podcasting versus studio style podcasting.
Yeah. Okay.
What's the difference?
What's the difference?
Yeah.
Okay, well, I would say we're in a studio style podcasting. Everyone's got headsets. We've all got our own mics.
Yep.
You've got a mixer board. I would call guerrilla podcasting. I'm on the street. I've got a little handheld recorder, for example, and I see the star football player, and I run up to him and I say, you know what, I've got a football podcast. Could I interview you for 10 or 15 minutes? And you grab him to the side, and he answers a couple of your questions. You pop it up, and of course, it's really raw. You're out in the wild, that sort of stuff.
Nice ambience.
Cool. And there's people that love the CBC, BBC style, and there's people that love it just sounds like two people talking in the kitchen.
Yep.
Yeah.
Actually, there was a guy that did an amazing for CBC, and he would go on the train in Toronto and approach people that were reading books and do book reviews about, hey, what's that book about?
Cool.
Blah, blah. And
that's guerrilla podcasting.
Very, very, very cool.
Yeah, that's cool.
So my question is, what happens if you do a Skype conversation with somebody and say, hey, I want to interview you, blah, blah, and just record that? That would be like a hybrid.
I do that all the time. I don't give it a name.
But that wouldn't be gorilla.
No, that's still gorilla. If you're not doing it with all this technology, you're just doing it with, say, Pamela.
I think you're
or
splitting hairs at that point. You
Yeah.
could make a strong argument either way, and I wouldn't bother even.
Well, if you did a mix minus, you insist they get a headset like
Well,
I
you
do,
wouldn't-
then
Yeah,
it's
but
studio, right?
If you go on the radio and you listen to talk radio, sometime the guy is in the airport, he's on his cell phone, it cracks, and it's terrible. I would call that kind of guerrilla.
Yeah.
Because
Semi-guerrilla.
normally he's in, it's half guerrilla,
Yeah.
but normally he would be in some other studio somewhere.
Chimpanzee broadcasting.
Chimpanzee broadcasting, that's right.
Well done, Ken.
It'd normally be in another studio, and it would be perfect sound.
Yeah.
So if it's not perfect sound, I think it qualifies for guerrilla podcasting.
But I don't. I just want to clarify on the perfect sound thing, because you can have a really good quality digital recorder, and you can have good sound. By sound, I mean good levels, of audio recording. No peaking, and it's still recording at a loud enough level to be clearly heard when people are listening on your show. But the background noise and the things, that's not something negative when you're doing a kind of a sound seeing tour podcast. You're hearing the birds chirp.
Yeah, but that would be classified as still be classified.
That's guerrilla
as
podcasting.
gorilla.
But you don't have to sacrifice sound quality to do guerrilla podcasting.
No, you can have great sound quality in guerrilla podcasting. In fact, you should.
Yeah.
Right. But the point being is that you're not in a studio where everything is super quiet and all you're hearing is the perfect resonations of the voice.
But if you're at a trade show and say you're doing a podcast at Social Media Camp or something like that, and you've got the background noise of the hum and the people talking.
What if you just put your personal recorder directly into the mixing board and say, "I'm stealing this for the Bunker Project"?
Yeah,
is
exactly.
that Gorilla?
Like I did with well, actually,
not to say Bob's ever done anything like that.
Actually,
but.
that I went. Actually, it was Gary Vaynerchuk, and I went.
Cool. And you can listen to that show on our website.
Still big.
I know, and I went to the guys who were doing the audio. Said like, "Hi, I need you to patch this in." I wouldn't say, "Oh, can I?" I said, "I need you to patch this in. Do you have the cables for it?
Good,
Like,
Bob.
are you professionals or not?" I mean, they ran around for me for 10 minutes. They couldn't find the cables, so I said, "That's okay. I will just make do." So I just put my recorder right beside the speaker, and that's why it's not as good. But I still recorded it,
and it's on our website.
and and those guys were relieved.
Definitely
It's like,
Gorilla podcasting.
Yeah, that's totally Gorilla.
That's more than
But if
Gorilla.
I-
That's what would it be?
Stone Age.
Ninja.
A little bit
Ninja podcasting.
Yeah, no, a little bit terrorist.
Terrorist, yeah.
That's
No,
Black.
Ni-
That's
Ninja-
Black Ops podcast.
Ninja podcasting is when
Yeah.
it's 15 minutes of dead silence.
Oh, nicely done. You hear some shuffling every now and again, right?
I was going to do an interview, but I assassinated.
All you hear is the swoosh of the
Gurgle, gurgle.
the stars or the
and
knives.
Some tinkle of some
A
terracotta
couple,
stuff
a
on the
fist
roof.
against the head sort
Yeah.
of thing sound.
Oh, man. Oh,
Drink a beer.
all right. That was a wonderful digression. So everybody have a drink. If you don't have a drink, you just have to
So
catch up.
what if you take one of your recorders to the zoo, and you talk to a gorilla? Is that gorilla podcasting?
Yeah, but not if you talk to the tigers.
No.
Yeah.
They get really upset if you call that
Actually,
gorilla
if
podcasting.
you talk to the gorillas, they talk back. You would do very, very well.
Oh, they would talk back for sure.
If you do it at night,
you can't get those guys to shut up.
if you do it at night with the
Animals.
tigers, would it be the Stars and Stripes podcast?
could be.
Okay, so there's different ways of doing guerrilla podcasting. One of them is, like you mentioned, using a handheld audio recorder.
Yep.
So you're recording directly into a digital recorder. You can use your iPhone or iPod.
Absolutely. You know what? Apple has changed the whole game because I think everything can be done on an iPhone.
Or an iPad.
Or an iPad.
Yeah.
Or what's that other mobile operating
Or Android, but I
system?
will-
Actually, an
The one-
iPod. You
the
can do
one
it on an
that's
iPod,
actually
too.
number one.
I've got a
now?
little question mark by Android here, and I'll talk about that in a minute. Android, you can definitely record podcasts from.
Oh, really?
Yeah. But,
my gosh.
But you can't record properly podcasts on an Android device if you're recording into the device and also using it as an audio card system because it has latency. There's a known issue with Android, and there's an app that's only an iOS app, and that's the reason why it's only an iOS app. It's called Boss Jock Studio, and Boss Jock Studio is like an all-in-one podcasting platform. So you just load up the app. I'm just going to put it on my phone right now, and it's got up to 12 carts. I'm just going to hold it up so people can see.
What's a cart?
So like a cart, just an audio card is like a soundboard.
Oh, I see.
So you can put intro music, transition, sound effects. You can put voicemail feedback. Let's say if people leave you feedback, and you can play it in the show. You can play it all right from there, and you can adjust the volume of the mix.
So it's a sound studio on your iPhone.
It's a sound studio on the iPhone, and the reason why they don't have an Android app yet is because yes, you can record audio straight into an iPhone at good or an Android phone at good quality. You can't mix everything and simultaneously record it without getting a little bit of latency. It's a little bit of an echo effect. So
well, I'm sure the next update will fix that.
Yeah, hopefully, because I have both an Android and an iOS.
Well, podcasting is probably going to be one of Google's number one priorities moving forward now that you've got all this patent stuff going on, because they definitely want to get sued.
You know what? I always thought that they've got Google. Google search. You can search Google Scholar. You can search maps, images, and all that thing. They should put podcasts there. They should have a little podcast tab so that when you type in something, you just click on that tab and you get nothing but podcasts related to that topic. It'd be awesome. Mm-hmm. They definitely should do that.
I don't think Google spends much time thinking about podcasts.
No, but people are starting to search for it. And a lot of people are saying that right now we're going through Michael Stelzner started a podcast. Michael Hyatt started a podcast. There's all these big name people that are doing podcasts now. And there's Michael Stelzner, the founder of Social Media Examiner.
Yep.
he's declared that we're in a podcast renaissance right now.
Really?
Yeah.
Cool.
And everybody's getting into it. So it's about to explode, right? So now these guys that have the patent, they see that and they're ready to pounce, right?
Yeah.
But I'll just play like a little clip here on this. Before I do that, I've got this little adapter. It's just like my Tascam digital recorder. It's a little adapter that plugs into my iPhone, and it gives me like high quality condenser microphones, which takes in all. We talked about dynamic mics versus condenser mics before. Condenser mics are not as good for in-studio recording because they suck in a pin could drop and you'd hear it drop.
Right.
But a dynamic mic has a really quick drop-off rate. So if you're talking on your mics right now and you put your head back,
well, you can tell the
it's
difference.
all of a sudden going to fade away really quick, so you don't get a lot of the background noise coming in.
So that's basically.
But this one you do. But these mics are designed to pick up the background noise because when you're at a convention or whatever, you want it. You want the ambience, and that's the difference between.
So they're ideal for guerrilla podcasters.
Yes.
Yep.
Yes, exactly. But at the same time, you could use a dynamic if you're in a restaurant and you're doing a podcast there, and there's a lot of clanging of the dishes. That could become a little bit annoying, right?
Well,
but
remember
it depends on the type of sound.
We did a recording up in the revolving.
In the Empire Landmark,
and it was great. I think that the thing
actually,
was with the Tascam.
I was wrong. We did do a recording on this, and we actually sent it to Podcast Answer.
Sounded awesome.
Anyway,
I like
I'll just play this so that you can see what happens. This is the card system that's in Boss Jock Studio. And if I play this, let's see if
now this works great if you've got an iPhone.
Yeah, it only works.
I don't know if
and you have an iPhone 4G.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's probably a 4G. I mean,
of course, it doesn't work.
It doesn't take a lot of processing.
It'll need a different
which is
connection
good,
if it's an i5.
Yeah.
iPhone 5.
Yeah,
right?
it probably doesn't exist yet. Okay.
Of course, it doesn't work when I have it plugged into the mixer and want to actually demo it. But, anyways, it's pretty cool.
Try that.
No, I'm not in that. I'm not on that one.
Oh, you're not. All right.
Yeah.
Try it again. I'm just curious. Because it's the only thing.
Oh yeah, sounds awesome.
Yeah.
All right.
Can you hear
I
that?
wish I had one of those.
Yeah.
sorry.
Well, we got Android, so we have to wait.
Anyways, it's pretty cool. It's pretty cool, and I was playing with it over the weekend, and you can.
You're talking about Boss Jock Studio?
Boss Jock Studio, yeah. You can do pretty much everything that you need to do, and once you're done, if you're a Libsyn customer, you can upload straight to Libsyn.
Yeah.
Like at one touch of a button, you record it, it processes it, sends it up to Libsyn, and it's already auto publishes. So it's kind of
nice.
So that's
or you can send it to Dropbox too.
And that's another thing about guerrilla podcasting. You don't have an intro soundtrack and an extra soundtrack. It's like, blah, there you go. It's like, hey, here it's Bob on the street. I'm going to interview this guy right now. Boom. And you start asking questions. And when you say, hey, it was great chatting with you, what you record is what goes out there. And there's some great services out there.
No, you
Audio
can quickly
not with
edit
that.
it. Yeah, this actually would record you.
Top and tail?
Intro music. I can put in
you can put an
voicemail.
intro?
Yeah, look, it's got a card. It's got a sound.
I can't read it. Sorry,
it's got a
too small.
soundboard.
I don't have my glasses, so I can't see it.
It's got a soundboard built in. You can
Neither can
you can
anybody
play
else who's watching the
intros, you
show.
can play outros, you can play transitions, whatever you put in there. You got up to 12 spots.
Oh, now that's
voicemail
cool.
feedback. It's a one-stop shop.
One-stop shop.
Yeah, and I tested it out. I recorded a few things with the iPhone speaker by itself, and it sounded pretty good. But with this Tascam adapter plugged in, it sounds really good. I tried it outside and I tried it inside. It makes a big difference. If you're inside and you're in a quiet room, it sounds really good.
Sure.
If you're outside,
in a car would be awesome.
Yeah, in a car would be great.
Car
yeah.
not moving parked is a great sound studio. Very good sound studio.
With the leather or the fabric.
Oh yeah, because you get a bit of reflective off the window, but you get a lot of absorption from.
You got like
material.
round.
It's a studio.
Yeah, it's good.
A beautiful studio.
Cool.
I did an audio boo actually. I was like, here's a great place to record, and I recorded and I said, did you hear that car going by? No, you didn't. And I'm using condenser mics. So yeah, it was. It's a great example. I love that. It's very cool. I can hardly wait for it to come out in Android. Because iPhones, they suck. Oh, Jabunga!
I can't wait for it to come out for Tizen.
I guess Apple's not giving you your next
Kaizen
sponsor there, Bob.
and Ubuntu. I can't wait for it to come out for Ubuntu, man.
Oh, yeah.
Ubuntu.
Cool.
Oh, geez.
And
Both
Windows,
geeks.
Windows Phone and BlackBerry too.
We haven't been
Woo,
geeky
BlackBerry
this year.
10.
Oh yeah, I can wait.
coming
oh,
soon.
BlackBerry, that's gonna be awesome when it comes out. In
240 hours away.
Is it still coming out?
Oh yeah, it's coming.
I saw
Well,
a
so is
blurb today.
Christmas.
There's 5 ways. I didn't watch the click on the link, but 5 ways that BlackBerry 10 is better than an iPhone.
Well, that's easy.
Yeah, well, it's funny
Do that in your
because
sleep.
just to do a quick digression on BlackBerry.
Yeah, let's.
The media.
Do we have to drink?
The media
Absolutely.
slammed
Yeah.
BlackBerry because everybody wants to see if falling star, right? And so they totally attacked BlackBerry, and now they're starting to warm up to BlackBerry and are saying really good things about them.
Of course
and
they are.
because everyone likes to see a dark horse return.
Come
kind
out of
thing.
the ruins, exactly.
So
It's
it's interesting to watch, but. No, BlackBerry 10 is nice. I don't think BlackBerry will ever be what they were. It's
I've got a
impossible.
BlackBerry myself, and I will never ever try another BlackBerry again. Never.
Really?
Won't even risk it. No way.
Really? So you're just gonna
Why is
stick
that?
with that BlackBerry because it's perfect?
No, it's crap. I got the torch. I got the
Oh, yeah,
torch.
the torch
I
sucks,
fell
yeah.
victim to their savvy marketing campaign.
Oh,
and now I don't care what anyone says about this new BlackBerry 10. I'm gone.
So
They
when
lost me
are you
on
gonna
it.
get an Android?
That's okay.
Or an
Lots
iPhone?
of people.
I'm gonna get an Android.
Hey,
Smart
all
man.
right. So which Android are you gonna get? Are you gonna get the?
3 or the Note 2?
Samsung Galaxy 3 or the Note 2. The guy
I
guy
hear
at
the
work
batteries
had a
suck.
Note 2.
I
It
hear
was
the batteries
fabulous.
I like the
So-
Note 2.
Does the battery
Yeah,
just?
who doesn't?
No, actually, the battery's pretty awesome.
Oh, is it? Oh, okay.
So look at this. Financial Post says Apple shares suffer worst plunge since financial crisis after earnings
Yeah.
disappointment.
Well, I was pretty disappointed even before the earnings.
So I thought it was interesting that Samsung went after, in one of their ads, went after
BlackBerry.
BlackBerry and
that's
Apple.
interesting.
So does that raise their status up to the point where the leader is going after them? Is that
well, they're number
significant
3.
or not?
I mean, the best position to be. Okay.
Well, actually,
Okay,
actually,
Ken?
what Samsung is doing is putting Apple and BlackBerry on the same level.
Yes, pretty smart, huh?
Not bad. That's pretty good.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
okay. So the thing is that a lot of people don't realize here in North America is BlackBerry is massive in Asia.
Yes.
They have over
okay.
800,000 people around the globe that love their product, would never consider
More than that.
the other ones. No, and then you've got the North American market. And people saying, I get this and that. I'm not so big in it. So we're a little on the brainwash side here. If you look at the global perspective, man, oh man, there's a lot of room for expansion.
And they still, BlackBerry still is dominant in the enterprise space. They're losing a lot of
Absolutely.
ground, but
'Cause
they're
they're
still
secure.
they're still dominant.
Yep.
They're dominant, and it's not just that they're secure; it's that it actually works.
And it goes well, and it looks good with the
for
suit
for
and tie.
messaging and email. It is by far.
Oh,
there's
super
it's not
efficient.
even close. It's
That's
by
right.
far the best system.
I remember
And
when
there's
I
talk
had.
they'll open it up to Apple and other devices. I heard the enterprise side.
Yeah,
Well-
mobile. It's called BlackBerry Mobile Fusion.
Yeah.
You can use now their BlackBerry Enterprise Server technology to manage any device. So you can manage.
That's sweet.
Because of the bring your own device phenomenon, which basically killed BlackBerry.
Yeah.
They've woke up to that, and now they're, instead of losing all their licenses for the Bez as everybody moves away, they can now use those licenses to manage other devices. So it's
And I
kinda
think
cool.
you'll see that the security issues are going to become huge in the next for the next 3, 4, 5 years, because I don't think there's very good security on these phones.
God, I mean,
But BlackBerry is known for its security,
Right.
right?
you know who's known for their not security? The Canadian goddamn government is like people. Oh, I left my computer with 600 million people's IDs in my car and it got stolen.
It's a flash drive.
Oh.
It's a flash
I
drive.
got it right here. I found my flash drive.
It's-
I found the government's flash drive. Oh, don't tell anyone.
It's not just the
I'm
government.
overriding it with karaoke songs.
But I got your social insurance number, Bob.
It's our local banks too.
Yeah.
I had a
Yeah.
client whose account had changed a whole bunch of people's accounts because somebody at the bank, credit union he deals with, left some shit in their car and it was stolen.
Yep, exactly.
Yeah, it's a crazy world.
And yet these people won't use the cloud.
Yes.
Yeah, yeah. Sick. Well, it's ironic because my
No, they
brother's-
prefer to store it in Honda.
My brother's a big tech hack and a coder, and he says it drives him nuts because he's trying to talk his clients into getting into the clouds because it's more secure. He can update it from anywhere.
Yep.
It's cheaper. It's easier for his company to actually make money because his coders. I mean, it's crazy that people aren't going nuts about the crowd. However, if we all are out there in the cloud, I'm sure some asshole is going to come along and totally screw it up by saying, "Oh, by the way, here's a massive flaw we haven't thought about until now. And by the way, I've got a patent on it."
There you
but
go.
who is here?
It's Marcel
has
at Chihuahua. Suddenly, the show is getting much more frothy.
It's the crazy guy.
But who was saying the internet would never be totally secure? Somebody here a couple shows ago, I was here, and so everyone's going to the cloud. But somebody said,
No,
the
what
internet will
you
never
say-
be totally secure.
Basically, the whole theory is like whatever you say on the internet, including the show, is on it forever.
Forever and
Yeah.
Even if we
ever.
cancel the show and delete it and it never goes around, it will still be there forever and ever and ever. And somebody can come in and
In
use
some
that
form,
information
yeah.
and make a rap song
So what
and
you're
make lots of
saying?
money.
So what you're saying is, if I delete photos and videos off Facebook, they're never deleted.
Nope, they're never deleted.
No,
they're not
really?
They could be somewhere else. You
All
never
that
know.
porn.
God.
Well, I usually
All
delete
those
porn
naked
to make
pics.
more room on my hard drive.
Okay,
But
I better.
all
I
it would
better.
take is somebody to download one or two of those photos and then put them back up again, and they're back.
So I got a question. Does that mean that new Facebook search is going to make it easier to find those photos?
Yeah, that's right.
Oh
What do
my
you
God!
Hey, we
You
gotta
want to see Bob's nude photos? Though?
next week
They're
we've
very
got
furry.
Yeah,
a
been there, done that.
next
I'm a
week we've
bear.
got a
I'm a
tool.
bear.
We're going to talk about a tool next week that can actually clean your whole Facebook timeline.
Yay!
Cool.
Let's
And
reel
your
it
bathroom.
back a little bit. Before we
that
close
was-
the show,
that-
we're
Thank you,
gonna
Anna
That is
Glover.
my digression.
That's our new key code word. Reel it back means like
reel it back.
reel it back, guys. Let's get real. All
Okay,
right.
so let's.
Pastor Andrew, what do
We
you have
got
to say?
we got Scott Patton here, so we want to close off the podcasting
Martinis.
talk
Sorry.
before we
Oh, is that for Marcel?
Yeah.
before
That's
we
so
close
gay.
off the show.
Martini Marcel.
All right, we've already started show 2. Sorry.
Oh, we started show 2 already?
No, we didn't. All right, Scott.
Hi.
What hosting podcast hosting do you recommend?
Yeah.
I know you're
Yeah,
biased.
yeah,
you're
yeah.
biased.
Let's talk
Come on,
about
Scott.
this.
Let's.
I think you have two choices when it comes to podcast hosting. One is you can host it yourself on your own server, on your own shared server, whatever it is.
Yep.
Use WordPress, PodPress.
GoDaddy.
Podpress, I
Stopped
wouldn't.
him in
I
his
don't.
tracks.
Not GoDaddy.
I wouldn't use Podpress because it hasn't been supported for like 3 years.
Oh, okay. Well,
But
whatever.
PowerPress.
Well, why not GoDaddy? I mean, they like for $125, I get unlimited everything. What's wrong with that?
No, you
It's
don't
not
get unlimited
really
bandwidth.
unlimited.
Well, I think that's a digression.
Oh, right. But it's a good digression. Like, why? I mean, zing. GoDaddy sucks, let's face it.
Yeah.
I use
Well,
it,
that's
but it
why-
still sucks.
Yeah, I use it too, and I try not to.
Ooh,
Yeah.
I don't.
And I never use it for hosting. And anytime I've had a client who has used it for hosting, I pull my hair out until I finally tell them if they want to be my client, they got to use
Yeah.
someone else.
Exactly.
Use them for
100%.
domains. Don't use them for hosting.
You don't actually want to use GoDaddy for anything
For
if you
domains
listen
either.
to certain people in the internet marketing field, because what they'll tell you is once you start making some money with your domain, and if GoDaddy finds out, they will find some reason to suspend you, and they will not unsuspend you until you pay them a bunch of money.
Ah.
And that has
Oh.
happened once that I've heard
Really?
of, so I don't know that that's a
Allegedly.
typical thing.
I've also heard that they do something else for if they notice a lot of searches for particular domains.
Yes,
they'll
they
register them.
do that.
Yep.
They'll register them
Buggers.
themselves and then sell them
Yep.
Yeah.
for
Domain
more than
trolls-
$7.
What used to happen in the old days of domain registration is you would have an idea for a domain, you would search on it using
then-
somebody
yeah.
like, but not necessarily GoDaddy, because I don't want to say it was GoDaddy, because I don't think it was. And when you went back 10 minutes later
Yep.
to when you decided you actually wanted that domain, it was already picked up by
For 24 hours.
somebody else.
Yeah, or it was
Wow.
held temporarily for 24 hours.
Well, and then it wasn't available because it was actually taken. So
and then you had to buy
I've
it.
never
at a
had that
premium.
problem with GoDaddy though, but I've heard other domains.
yeah, like I said, I don't think that's. I would point that one at GoDaddy, but that's
Okay, well, that was a nice digression. So,
Yep.
what would you? How about Libsyn?
Libsyn. I think they're one of the biggest ones.
Would you consider one of the best?
I don't know.
Why? Why?
Well, because
why?
I haven't really looked at them.
Oh, well,
He's got his own. He's got his own hosting.
Oh, you host
company.
yourself?
No, he's an owner of My Podcast World.
Yeah.
which is it's not a self-hosted option. It's
right. So you have the self-hosted option, and then you have finding a host. Libsyn is certainly one. They're huge because I think they're part of Wizard, right?
Yeah, Wizard Media.
Yeah. So Wizard Media has gazillions. They've got billions and billions of downloads. So. Yeah. But I've never actually looked at them to see how much they cost or how you get involved with them, so I can't really speak to them.
Can you use
Podomatic is another big one.
Yeah, that was the first one I used. Actually, it was at your advice.
Podomatic has some very aggressive pricing. I remember when GoDaddy stumbled about 8 months ago, and Podomatic just go boom, like instantly. Say, by the way, why don't you just come over to Podomatic?
Like GoDaddy stumbled on what?
Oh, some hosting BS, and it was
but it's
down.
two different things.
Podomatic,
it's not that's a podcast host, not a.
Oh no, it was Gator. Sorry, my bad.
Yeah,
Podomatic
Gator. You just digressed in a totally like what? Where is he
going? Welcome to the Bunker Show.
You need to take 2 drinks.
Yeah, that's why.
So Podomatic, My Podcast World. There's TalkShoe too.
Oh, TalkShoe.
TalkShoe and Blog Talk Radio.
Blog Talk Radio.
Oh,
yeah. I don't think Blog Talk Radio is. Blog Talk Radio is really interesting because you can have live. See, to me, podcasting is not live, right? So it's not broadcasting. It's you do it and it's available at some point in time.
Yeah, it's PVRing, basically.
It's PVRing, right? So, but what I like about Blog Talk Radio is you can actually have a show and people on there, and you actually have like a talk radio show because you can have people call in and ask questions and everything else.
But it is a podcast. It is a podcast
once you're done the recording, you have a podcast, which is
but the audio quality sucks.
It's encoded at less than AM quality. It's horrible.
Absolutely.
I emailed the Blog Talk Radio, and they said they're coming out with a new option for premium members that will give you and actually right now their premium members can actually record their own audio separately, say into a digital recorder or whatever, and can upload it. So you don't have to use their
recording.
But
that's always hard when you're recording online.
Yeah. It's
like
it's audio
phone calls are analog. It's not very good. Skype is way better. And then there's Audio Boo and SoundCloud.
SoundCloud is very impressive, actually.
Yeah. So
SoundCloud.
SoundCloud. That's out of England, I think, isn't it?
I believe so.
Yeah. Very nice. But I mean, they got weird parameters. Like Audio Boo is 5 minutes. They host it and all that stuff, but you only get 5 minute clip. With SoundCloud, it's 2 hours per month you get. So that's great if you're doing, it's basically SoundCloud's developed for people that are doing music. And they here's my 3 minute piece.
Right.
And then they could host it on there and then distribute it and blah, 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 blah. Audio Boo, I really liked it because you could record your show live on your computer or whatever, or you could pre-record it and then upload it. That was kind of nice but you only have 5 minutes, but it links to iTunes and all that, so we had a good distribution network.
How does it link to iTunes?
It would basically make it available through the iTunes search.
Yeah, no, they automatically register your podcast on iTunes.
So in other words, what you're saying is they do. Oh, that's not good. But what you're saying is that they go and they do a 30-second job for you, and it sounds like it's a wonderful thing.
As Dave Jackson from the School of Podcasting says, he says they do you a huge favor by doing the work to register your podcast on iTunes.
Yeah, that's a massive job.
Yeah, I know.
Because then they own the RSS feed, right?
Actually, you know what? You just brought up what I think is probably the number one issue that nobody talks about.
Is RSS?
Yeah, because I hear there's a patent on it. No, you mentioned FeedBurner. I don't talk about this too much because I don't really think about it too much. But you should, when you go make a podcast, you should burn it through something like FeedBurner because then you actually control the feed. So let's say, for example, you came and you used Podomatic, which I did, and you decided that the performance was really, really bad, which is one of the reasons why I made my podcast world, because I got so frustrated with the Podomatic would work great, and then there'd be a month where it was absolutely awful. And I think what it was they just filled up their computers with data, and it slowed everything down. Then when the next month they got a new computer, and then it was okay.
Yeah.
And it just went on and on.
Scaling up.
And the reason that I started my podcast world was a buddy of mine was he just got tired of me complaining about it. He says, every 6 months you complain about it. Why don't you make your own? And I didn't have any involvement with programmers or anything, so I never conceived of that idea. He had a programmer. He helped me. We made it, and we've gone through growing pains and stuff just like everybody else. But we used Amazon as the backbone.
So
Nice.
all
S3.
of the Amazon S3.
I was going to ask about S3.
Yeah. So all of the hosting occurs on Amazon S3. So what that means is that it doesn't matter how many people I have as podcasters, there's no degradation because the whole programming part and the whole delivery are separate. And the good thing about Amazon S3 is if you've got like 10,000 people in Spain that are listening to you, they move the MP3 files over to their European warehouse or whatever they call it. And so it just goes from there. So you don't have all these electrons going across the ocean.
Yep.
Really cool. So
and it's relatively cost effective.
But Amazon for a customer that actually is signing up for Amazon S3, like maybe you guys get wholesale rates, right?
Well, you don't see it. You just go to My Podcast World.
No, I understand that. But like if I was to sign up for Amazon S3 as a podcaster.
I don't think it'd be any different.
Really?
No, they're very cost effective.
They're very cost effective.
I don't think there's a wholesale and a retail.
Okay. So then for if your show, say, the stereotypical thing that everybody says, if your show gets mentioned on Oprah and all of a sudden your whole back catalog gets downloaded 1 million times.
Yeah, you get a big bill.
You get a big bill. So that's why
Libsyn.
People use Libsyn and Blueberry because there's unlimited bandwidth. But for internet marketing and for
but I'll bet you that if you had that happen to you, those guys would call you.
No, that's their
bill.
selling. That's their selling point. No.
Well, no,
no, not
they
Libsyn
don't call
or.
you, but other people.
But you know what they do? Like the way that they do it
if
is
you crash their service, they'll call you.
What they do is they have the way they do it is they charge for storage. So they have plans that are based on storage. So
I see.
and the storage is for 30 days.
Yeah.
So after 30 days, it goes into your archive. You always have that archive, and you pay the same monthly fee, and you can actually change your plan however many.
Can people still listen to the archive, though?
Absolutely, but it's on a slower server, so they know that the most downloaded episode is going to be the newest one
3 days after you publish it.
So when you publish it for the first within that first month, that episode is going to be downloaded more than it's ever going to be downloaded again.
And from what I understand, once that the active podcasts, the 30-day podcast, once they go into archive, they're no longer part of the storage that you're paying.
That's right.
Yeah.
So you get a new
forever.
if you're on a plan that gives you 500 megabytes, then and you fill up your 500 megabytes with all your podcasts
in a month.
By the 29th day, on day one of the next month, you have 500 megabytes again.
Okay, good.
So you can keep.
Now the tricky thing is though, it starts off cheap, like $5 for 50 megabytes, unlimited downloads, but you start doing many podcasts and you want to keep the archive of those podcasts, suddenly you're paying $40, $50, $60, $70 a month.
Well, I mean, to do that, if you're doing that, you're doing
like me
tons of podcasts. Mine's $20 a month.
I'm $70.
But and I should lower it because I'm not using it all right now. But
which you can do.
You can lower it anytime. You can go right down to $5.
Yeah.
Can you push archive? Can you push podcast to archive yourself?
What do you mean by that?
Before the 30 days is up.
Yeah.
Just decide that, okay, these 3 podcasts should go to archive.
Well, what I do is...
No, they automatically archive after 30 days.
Yeah.
You can't do it earlier.
Exactly.
No.
So you can't pre-archive.
No, but you can buy you can just pay $5 for some extra megabytes.
Yeah, but exactly. You can
that's
true. What I do is, like, if I have like 10 or 15 shows that are going to go over the next 10 or 15 weeks, I'll put them on Libsyn and upload them and do my WordPress and have the link and have them post automatically and then fill up. And then wait a whole 30 days before I have any room on my Libsyn again. But I'm covered for that. So for me, I'm into automating the whole process. I rather sit down on Sunday and use up 400 megabytes.
But you know what? Like a lot of people, they do that because what if their show gets mentioned on Oprah, but it never does.
It's like
insurance.
And
then so it might have been cheaper to actually do it on something like S3 or use My Podcast World or Podomatic or whatever. And but it is like insurance. It's exactly
could you buy insurance for that? I mean, could you get Oprah insurance?
No. You
Have
just
you tried?
It's called Libsyn Insurance. Just buy Libsyn.
Well, ask the insurance maven. She's right there.
Go to
Guys,
Willie
we're going
Hills.
to wrap up the show because we're over an hour already. Ladies and gentlemen.
Kill this show.
Yeah, let's kill this sucker.
Wow.
Get ready for...
All right, one last question. PC or Mac for podcasting?
PC. Mac.
Yeah?
I started off on PC, but I can tell you GarageBand is so sweet.
Really, I hate
GarageBand.
Oh,
It sucks.
man, you guys don't know.
I
What
like
you're doing.
Audacity way better.
I do know
like
what
the
I'm
poor
doing.
person.
That's just because you're used to it.
I've got Audacity.
No, I've used both, and I don't. I just.
You know what? I used Audacity, and it took me 4 podcast episodes on GarageBand to fall in love with it.
Really?
It just had to
Nah,
do it a
I'm
few
just kidding.
times.
I use Audition.
The truth
Adobe
of the matter
Audition
is if you've got a file and all you're doing is pulling in and out the main talking part, you're good to go on either one.
Yeah, but the thing is, I found with GarageBand, it's horrible for editing. Just so brutally slow for editing.
Oh,
Just don't edit.
You need to have a good PC.
He does. He's got a Power PC.
Oh yeah,
a Power Mac.
I get it.
Power Mac. No. You just need a
I got
MacBook
$6,000 computer. Trust me. It's
you need a $2,000.
He's got like a
12
core Mac.
Oh yeah,
you got too much stuff on your computer. That's
I
your
got
problem.
huge. No, I just use professional.
No, I actually, you're right. I didn't spend a heck of a lot of time on it. I played with it. And
I hated
didn't like it.
GarageBand the first 3 times I used it.
I hated it
couldn't
the first
figure
30
it out.
times I used it.
No,
It's
but
just
now I find it easy. But I don't.
non-functional.
It's very basic, right? I just pull in the audio file, I stick it where I want it, and I chop off the beginning and the end.
It's
and
basically
then
the
done.
iTunes of editing.
Yeah.
Very minimalist.
Cool.
Yeah, but
Pretty buttons, looks nice.
I've used GarageBand a few times.
Sounds like a lot of my dates.
Every time I use it, the files end up huge for some reason.
Yeah,
Well,
you
that's
don't
because
have
the
any
way
control.
you go share, and you make sure you set the setting to podcast and talk, and it's fairly small.
See, there you go. It's doing that.
It's just how you encode it.
The
And
biggest
it
problem
does-
with GarageBand is I found reverb. I would have a reverb in there, this echo.
Yeah.
I couldn't figure it out, and then there was some obscure place you go and you
it's
just put it
built
to
in.
0 and it's gone. Right?
Yeah.
Well, it basically for me when I do audio editing, I like to have 100% control, just like I use Photoshop and.
But you're a
InDesign,
control
stuff like
freak.
that.
That's your problem.
Absolutely.
I hear the music.
I
All right.
know.
That's the
Trying
end
to
of the
shut
show.
this sucker down.
Before the music ends, I just want to ask Scott one more question.
Who?
Next week, Scott.
All right, Scott. Yo,
in a few
can you
days,
come
you've got a meetup happening.
That's right. Actually, yeah. The on Friday, the 25th of January, we got a whole bunch of internet marketing guys getting together for a beer.
Nice.
We call it the IM After Party, and it's going to be at the Vancouver Fan Club on Granville Street. Starts at between 6 and 6:30. We get together, chat for about an hour, and then we sort of network and let everybody kind of go wherever they want to go. Nice, casual, and
You gonna do some guerrilla podcast?
Yeah, probably, but there'll be no studio mics.
Excellent. I'm
All
there.
right,
Let's
So
go.
come on down.
Come on down.
It's $5 at the door.
All right. So hey, if you want to join the conversation here at the Bunker Show, you can join us on Google Plus Hangout, just like Ken did. Ken McGrath
Thank
here
you, Ken.
on the Bunker Show.
Well done, Ken.
You can also call in voicemail feedback to a toll-free number. You don't even have to pay. It's on our dime. 1-877-636-1474. That's 1-877-636-1474. Call us and we'll play it in the show.